Ancestry.com recently introduced a new feature called DNA ThruLines. The idea is to merge DNA evidence and people's family trees to help you break through brick walls. It's an interesting idea, but I have 3 issues with the execution. First, the DNA ThruLines icons show up even when there's nothing there. Second, the hints themselves are ultimately just other people's family trees. And other people's family trees, at least in my experience, are typically just copies of copies lacking any compelling evidence. Third, DNA ThruLines isn't helping me break through brick walls by proposing connections that aren't already there. Let's get into details. First, the DNA ThruLines interface throws up what I would consider to be false positives. See that little blue through DNA lines icon above Oliver Racer? It takes me 3 clicks to discover that there aren't, in fact, any DNA matches there whatsoever. Please, Ancestry.com, don't waste my time. Hide the icon when you don't have information to share. My second reservation is that DNA ThruLines relies on other people's family trees, with no distinction between a profile with dozens of sources and one with no evidence at all. It's a garbage in, garbage out scenario. Take my mom's second great-grandfather, James Brown. I'm confident in this lineage, and the DNA test from our many distant cousins confirms that I've got it right. I have no idea who James Brown's father was, however, but DNA ThruLines is giving me a suggestion: John Edward Brown. So what do I get when I click on John Edward Brown on Steve's tree? A profile with no supporting evidence at all. Really, how is this any different from family tree hints? DNA ThruLines, despite the cool name and marketing language, is little different from the family tree hints Ancestry.com has offered for over a decade. My third point here is that DNA ThruLines is missing the big opportunity, helping us break through brick walls by identifying siblings and cousins, aunts and uncles, that we can research to find out more about that direct lineage. Researching relatives is one of my favorite ways to break through brick walls, as you can see in this video. Now let me show you an interesting scenario from my mom's DNA matches. Her maternal line, the Posses, seem to come to the United States without friends or family. It's like Charles Poss just appeared magically in Pennsylvania. There's this really fascinating DNA match with 2 other Ancestry.com members who document their descent from a Jacob Poss. He was 10 years older than my Charles. He was also a Catholic, and he came from Germany around the same time. The DNA match suggests that we all have a common Poss ancestor, but DNA ThruLines isn't helping me because the trees aren't already matched together. Let me give you an example of how I would like it to work. Thomas Chu has been a thorn in my side for years. The consensus opinion is that his parents were Andrew Chu and Anna Maria Barthest. And look here, DNA ThruLines is suggesting Anna Barthest as a match based on similarities between my mother-in-law's DNA and that of another member who descends through Thomas Chu's brother, Joseph Chu. I don't believe that lineage. The evidence is pretty complicated, so I won't present it all here, but the nut of it is that Joseph Chu's wife was also a Chu, and I think she was a descendant of Andrew Chu and Anna Barthest, while Thomas and Joseph Chu were from a completely different branch of the Chu family. In fact, when I look at my mother-in-law's DNA matches, she actually has 2 matches with people who document descent from a completely different branch of the Chus. Now, I can see that second line in DNA ThruLines because I created this fictional person in my tree called Wild Speculation Chu and connected him to Joseph and William Chu. And my mother-in-law shares some DNA with the descendants of William Chu. Put it this way, DNA ThruLines is suggesting that my mother-in-law had 2 distinct lines of descent, and not because there's some oddity in her DNA, but because 2 different genealogists have different views of the evidence and put different lineages in their trees. I want to see DNA ThruLines create their own wild speculation Chus. That's the real opportunity, giving me ideas on where and about whom I should research to break through a brick wall. I hope you enjoyed this 5-minute genealogy video. If you have any questions or suggestions for future video topics, please leave them in the comments. If you like my channel, please subscribe and give a thumbs up.